Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Dying to Know More. Say hello to my guest. Hi Szymon.
Hey Paulina, is this the real last hope?
Exactly, and this is the topic I would like to talk about today, weapons.
Sure, what do you want to know?
Well, we've already seen a lot, but how did your approach on making weapons change since Dying Light 1? Are there any differences?
Well, there are differences actually. The world have changed, so the weapons as well. And in first Dying Light, you could find simple blades and tools like wrenches, typical stuff for the post-apo world.
And what happened to all of these weapons?
Like everything, they wore out. So after 20 years, you still can find those high-tier weapons, but they are either very expensive, either very difficult to find, actually. So I would rather think that people start building stuff from scraps and other materials, like on the fly.
Something like weapon recycle.
Well, you can call it that way. It's like making a sculpture from the old piece of art.
I can imagine that those new weapons won't last forever as well. They are complex and made from very strange materials.
Yes, but it depends on the class of the weapon. Because high-quality axe, which is a rare thing to find, would be more durable than something that's been just built on the fly. And I would imagine that the second one would just simply break after a couple of battles and, well, I don't know, maybe the blade would fall off of the handle or something.
But how do we know that the weapon is going to break?
Actually, there's a funny story behind it, because one of our sound designers, Tomek, he's responsible for combat. He's been working on weapon sounds one day, and after a couple of hours, he broke his actual machete. Thanks to that, he got very to this funny, rickety sound, and even though that day it wasn't at all his plan to work on that sound, and I don't think that it was required for design at all, it came very convenient, very natural, so we decided that it will stay.
Great story, I didn't know about that. So, if they are breakable, how can I be prepared for all of these battles? Is there any chance that I will end up in a very dangerous situation without any weapon?
Yeah, actually there is. So you need to be very well prepared for every of your battles. I would strongly suggest to have at least one modded weapon always with you for special enemies. But besides regular weapons, you can also use other tools that are available in the world.
Like, for example?
Like you can try using my favorite technique. Try to find a higher ground, lure down your enemies like biters with a decoy, let's say firecrackers or meat bait. Then throw a grenade and just look how they are flying around.
And what if I'd like to use a ranged weapon instead?
Well, you still can, but it would be very difficult against some of enemies. Let's say Banshee, she's super fast, she's very jumpy, so I cannot imagine actually, hitting her with a bow. So what I would suggest instead would be trying to clear out the area from the biters. She loves to bounce back out of them, and then it would be so much easier to nail her down.
Sounds complex, but also fun. And speaking of, did you have any difficulties during your work?
Maybe stationary cannons.
Oh, I actually heard of that. Can you tell us why?
It's not even that they were more difficult, but we decided that we will invest more time because they are so much more complex from the standpoint of how they work. So we decided that we will put more pressure over the design and the concepting stage, but it was totally worth it. I can promise you they look very cool and they are very fun to play with.
Okay, but when do you know that the work on the weapon is done? When can you say, okay guys, we got it?
I think we got to a point that we were just happy about it. We went through different historical periods, different cultures, looking for different shapes and sizes. And we managed to recreate from modern materials nearly 200 weapons. So at some point we just said, okay, that's it, high five. It's great, we have it, we don't need any more.
Okay, they're all amazing, but which one of them is your favorite one?
Since Dying Light 1, the electric machete. Classic and stylish.
Oh, yes, it is. Thank you, Szymon, for joining me. I really can't wait to use all of these weapons in the game.
Believe me too. Thanks for having me, Paulina.
And thank you all for watching us today. Stay tuned for more, and remember, stay human.